All right, so today we're going to talk about complex patterns of inheritance. So that's basically exactly what it sounds like. We're going to start talking about more complex, complex scenarios when it comes to heredity and passing down your genes. So up until this point, we've kept it relatively simple with the complete dominance, right? So we've kept it simple in the sense of the dominant allele, one of them will make the whole trait dominant, right? You have to have two recessive alleles to see the recessive trait. So for today, I want you to put that off to the side, okay? So the complete dominance, where you just need one dominant trait to express the dominant trait itself, forget about that today, because today we're going to talk about more complex scenarios. Okay, you with me? Okay, so we're going to start with something called incomplete dominance. So incomplete dominance happens when you have a heterozygous genotype. Okay, so you have one dominant allele and one recessive allele. And when incomplete dominance occurs, you get the mixture of those two alleles. Okay, so instead of having it be complete dominance where you just need one dominant to show that trait, it's now a mixture. Okay. So the phenotype is like the intermediate between the two alleles, or you can think of it as a mixture. So for example, I have snapdragons. Okay, you could have one allele for red snapdragons and one allele for white snapdragons. This time, when it's incomplete dominance, instead of one being dominant over the other, you get the mixture. Okay, so they would produce pink because of pink is a mixture between red and white. Another pattern that's more complex for inheritance is called codominance. So codominance is when both alleles are going to be dominant. Okay. So this time, if you have the heterozygous genotype, you actually express both of those alleles. Okay, so an example of this would be sickle cell disease. So last week we learned a little bit about sickle cell disease and how it causes your cells to take on this sickle shape. Well, if you are heterozygous for this disorder, then you show something that we call codominance, or you get blood cells that are both sickle shaped and like the normal disc shape. Okay. So codominance is they're both going to be present. All right, up until this point, we've only talked about inheriting a trait that has only two alleles. Think about like pea plant color. We've only talked about like red or green pea plant possibilities. However, there are some forms of inheritance that are going to be determined by more than two alleles. And so an example of this is like your human blood group, or think of your blood type. And one thing I just want to point out when we talk about multiple alleles, you still only get two. You still get one of the alleles from your biological mother, and you get one from your biological father. It's just there's more options now. Okay, instead of having just you can be red or not red, you can be green or yellow for pea plant color. Like for blood groups, you can be A, you can be B. You can be A, B, but that's a result, or you can be O, right? Like there are more than just two options for blood grouping. Does that make sense? Okay. But you still only get two alleles. You still get one from your mom, one from your dad. All right, so I want to talk a little bit more about how our blood groups work. Okay. So in human blood groups, we have the A group, the B group, and the O group. Okay. Or we have three alleles for blood groups. So the way we write the alleles is I with like a superscript of A, I with a superscript B, or just plain old I with no superscript. Okay. And then in addition to your blood type of it being like A, B, or O, there's also that Rh factor. How many of you know your blood type? Okay, you're probably a letter like O positive, right? Or like AB negative. The Rh factor is that positive or negative. So go ahead and copy this table down. And then I'm going to explain it to what does it mean, how do we figure out our blood types, okay? So for our alleles, the I just stands for immunoglobulin, in case anyone's wondering where do we get the I from. Okay. So if you have this allele, it means you have this A protein on the outside of your blood cells. Okay. If you are I to the superscript B, it means you have this B protein on the outside of your red blood cells. And if you are just I with no superscript, it means you don't have that protein. Okay. And so those are your options of alleles. However, you still get only one of them from your biological mom and one from your biological dad. So here is like a Punnett square, if you will, of how you could get different blood types depending on what alleles you're going to get from each of your biological parents. So this is your mother's side, this is your father's side. So if your mom gives you the allele for like that type A blood, and then if your dad gives you the allele for that type A blood, well, then you're homozygous for it. Okay, so you're going to have type A blood. If your mom gives you the allele for type A blood, and your dad gives you the allele for type A blood, you're heterozygous between A and B. However, these are codominant, okay, which means you're going to have both of those A proteins and those B proteins on your blood. So we would call your blood type AB. And then if you are getting the type A blood allele from your mom, and then just the I is going to represent like the O. So you get this heterozygous genotype, and A is dominant to O. Okay, so then you're only going to show up as type A blood. I'm going to move down to the second row. So this time, if mom gives you the allele for type B blood and dad gives you the allele for type A blood, you're going to be AB because A and B are codominant. If mom gives you the allele for type B blood and dad gives you the allele for type B blood, well, then you have to be type B, right? That's all you have. And then if mom gives you the allele for type B blood and dad is giving you the allele, this one is really for O or no proteins. B is dominant over O, so you're going to show type B blood. And then I'm going to move to the third row. So the I is just no proteins, which is going to like show up as type O blood. So if mom gives the allele for type O blood and dad gives the allele for type A blood, A is dominant over O, so you would have type A blood. If mom gives you the allele for O and dad gives you the allele for B, you're going to show up as type B because B is dominant to O. And then if mom gives you the allele for O and dad gives you the allele for O, then you're going to be type O. All right, so then let's write just a few more things down on this slide. So type A and B are going to be codominant. So if you get A and B from your biological mom and dad, you're going to show them both and be type AB. And then A and B are dominant to O. So that means if one parent like gives you A and the other gives you O, you're going to show A because it has dominance over O. Okay. Or if one parent gives you B and the other parent gives you O, you're going to have type B blood because it has dominance. So then the only way you're going to have type O blood is if both parents give you the allele for type O blood. Does that kind of help make sense? Okay, we're going to watch an Amoeba Sisters video on blood type 2 just to learn a little bit more about it. All right, and then the last thing I want to talk about today is something called epistasis. So epistasis is when one gene hides the effects of another gene. So make sure you get this first bullet point. Okay, so epistasis means one gene hides the effects of another gene. And so Labrador retrievers and their coat color is a really great example of this. So then also get the example down. So of course you don't have to draw the dogs, but I write like black lab, chocolate lab, yellow lab, and put their genotype there. So how a Labrador retriever coat color works is there's two different sets of alleles to determine their coat color. So the first allele we look at just determines if the dog's going to have dark pigment or no dark pigment. Okay, so that first allele, the dominant allele is just given the letter E. So if a dog has at least one capital E, then it's going to have a dark pigment. Okay. So if you see here, we have at least one capital E, it's going to either be a black lab, or if it has at least one capital E, it can be a chocolate lab. Okay. So capital E is going to mean dark. So then if there's no capital E, if you're little e, then it's automatically going to cause the phenotype of a yellow lab. And then there's another allele or set of alleles that's going to determine how dark, or it's going to differentiate between a black lab versus a chocolate lab. So that allele is given just the letter B. So capital B is dominant to lowercase b, and capital B is going to represent black. So right where you see stars. So then if a lab has a capital B and at least a capital E, then it's going to be a black lab. If it has lowercase b, and a capital E, then it'll be a chocolate lab. And then it doesn't matter what the B alleles are here, because there's the two lowercase e's, it will be a yellow lab no matter what.